I got my J Concepts blue light up.
Nice.
See that? J Concepts blue.
Hey, you did a nice job with that.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Episode 244, post Visions race. Jason's back from Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And he's
Over
gone,
to
just like
J.
that.
Drive
Jason
over to
disappeared.
J.
You just
Oklahoma.
disappeared again, Jason, just like pre-show.
Boom.
Let me talk to you.
We're live now, so
I think Jason's getting phone calls. He's on his phone, so he's getting calls, and then it's just booting him, I think. You say no, but I say yes. You say no, and I say yes.
Yeah, so we flew into Tulsa. Try what?
Post Vision. Sounds like I don't know what that sounds like. So you flew into Tulsa, Oklahoma, and then you flew out of Tulsa.
Right. But
the best thing about Tulsa, I can't even say it. The best thing about Oklahoma is leaving Oklahoma.
Was that a wrestler?
The Rock. Remember that? Best thing about Sacramento is leaving Sacramento.
Listen up, listen up.
What a start. Let's try it again.
Flew into Tulsa. And the best thing about flying into Tulsa was leaving Tulsa.
Yeah.
So then drove over to J, Oklahoma, which is where the actual event is. This Mid-America Outdoors is, it's kind of hard, it's really hard to describe. I mean, I try to tell you guys about it and other people about how massive this property is. And it's just something it's just hard to really, these days we got photos, we got videos, we got all these different ways to describe things. Hold on, I'm just kind of adjusting my, I'm adjusting my set here. Ronnie Rivkin, let's go racing. Yeah, I mean, we have all these ways to show people now with videos and photos. It's still difficult.
He's disappearing again. Man, what are you doing? Jason's hitting buttons.
I'm not touching anything.
Your dial-up internet's crashing. Struggling. So we got Ronnie in here. Jason's going to get to the race soon. Well, it's just like anything else when you go, you look at the photos and you can't comprehend how large the place is until you get there.
And the kind of money that they're putting into this facility to kind of service all these different, UTVs, ATVs, rock bouncers.
Rock bouncers?
Rally cars. They had electric rally. Regular gas-powered rally cars. I mean, it's just in RC cars. There's a pool, big-ass pool there. For it's almost like it's a resort. It's like an all-inclusive resort for these enthusiasts. We're calling it the Redneck Yacht Club.
Oh man, the Redneck Yacht Club. Wow.
But I think that's actually a term used here in Florida for an event that they have. They actually have an event here in Florida called the Redneck Yacht Club, I think.
Jeff Storm dropping in, saying he's at work right now. Figured he'd drop in and say hi before he gets yelled at.
Oh, he just needs to stay on,
Yeah, the hell with that. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Giving him the approval. We'll give him the official approval.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a Ford display there. They have a Can-Am.
I bet you were in heaven with that.
Oh yeah, look at this. I brought this in. I got me a free Ford hat.
Well, there you go.
All you had to do is sign
daily.
You just had to sign your life away. give them your email address so they can contact you no matter when or no
Hmm.
matter what. Didn't win anything, of course. Um, got a free gift from Can-Am, and they got my email address.
Wow.
Um,
You're in trouble now.
oh yeah, man, they've already emailed me twice trying to get me set up with a new Can-Am. You're supposed to be able to win one. I never won anything though, so
They're going to
I
send
told
you an
them
email and it's going to say, let me talk to you.
it's just gonna say loser.
And Jason dropping out, man. Jason, we might not be able to record this pod if you keep dropping out like that. I don't know why it's doing that to you. Let me try moving you over here, maybe. It's got to be your phone.
Oh, I'll see if I have any other. I don't have anything else up right
I
now.
switched this up. Look at that. Maybe that'll work.
Oh hey, I did not get a guitar yet. Um, although my friend Jeff did. He
Jeff Storm.
lives on my another Jeff.
Another Jeff. Okay.
Yeah, he lives actually over in Arkansas. He he's got a he got into the guitar game, but I just I wish I had or I wanted to make more time. I'm trying to tell myself to not say I didn't have the time, or I hate when people say that. Like, oh, I just don't have time. I didn't have time. You know what? People have a ton of time. I want to start saying I didn't want to make the time for that.
Oh.
That's really what it is. That's really what it is for
Really?
everybody.
You think?
Absolutely everybody.
Well,
I
if you
didn't
work
want to
12
make
hours
the
a
time.
day, for example, and then you come home, you spend 2-3 hours eating dinner, getting around.
2 to 3 hours for dinner.
Well, I mean, the whole process, not just dinner.
What is this?
Hey, Jazzy.
She's here.
Yeah, it doesn't leave you much time to do anything. Though I would like to, I mentioned to Jeff that my dad had a band in high school, and he always wanted me to play the electric guitar, but I never got into it. But I do enjoy watching it. I like, Jeff, he'll get on Facebook and go to town there, and it's pretty damn interesting how they can do that.
I watched this guy on YouTube, Rick Beato.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about him.
Yeah, now he's got over 3 million subscribers. When I started watching him, he was in the 100,000s range, and now he's got 3 million subscribers.
So he dissects music, right?
Yeah, he'll do many different things, but one of the things I always like, and I don't know anything that I'm looking at, hearing, and I still find it interesting. So
yeah, same with me, man. I love that stuff. Rock bands and stuff. It'd be so awesome being a rock band.
Yeah, because you can do it till, it's like if you're an athlete, you're kind of have a shelf life, right? Like,
yeah,
you get to 35 to 40 years old, your athletic career is kind of over, and after that, unless you're just like we talked about the other day, unless you're like a Michael Jordan or one of these kind of guys, people forget about you. But in that rock game, or you can tour forever. People love you forever.
Yeah. I think the Rolling Stones are like in their 80s and still touring.
They're still rocking. Unbelievable.
Yeah, and the whole lifestyle seems like a lot of fun.
Well, that's what's also kind of strange is, those type of bands, they've lived it the hard way, right? They've kind of done everything there is to do, and 9 Ways to Sunday, and it's like they're still there. It's like,
yeah.
Oh, well, I died on stage once. They brought me back to life, so I decided to cut a few things out.
Right.
I decided to cut a few things out. Now we're all good. We're back touring again.
I mean, look at these guys. They're like Ozzy, the lifestyle they live, and they're still around. And I mean, I guess Ozzy just recently canceled his tours because of his health, but I don't know. They just seem like they're having a blast, man, and it makes you wonder, like, damn, they should have done that. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a fine line between what the guy said from, was it the Stone Temple Pilots? His dad told him that the issue they were having was having a little too much fun. And uh, so it's probably a fine line between having a little too much fun and having fun. So yeah, I think that's kind of that you got to find that fine line, and you got to get a little older, a little wiser. And it seems like that's when they kind of, it's like a period of like when you're indestructible in their late teens and 20s, they just do whatever, they still make their shows.
Yeah.
Then like in their mid to late 30s, they kind of are like, oof, we've like overdone it, and they, kind of have all their problems, and um, then they kind of, late 40s probably start figuring it all out again. They're like, all right, maybe we need to take it a little easier this time around, and then they kind of start rocking again.
Yeah. Interesting. Boop, Jason back. I guess I'm just going to have to put up with that without the show, Jason. Just the little pop-ins and pop-outs. It's not like the genie from I Dream of Jeannie. Pops in, pops out. Bing, bing.
Well,
so yeah, that's the rock band stuff there. That's funny.
And that's
I wish I was in one.
On our entire routine on the rock band.
Let's see. Which here you go. A good question by Mike Garrison. Which RC racer lives the closest lifestyle to a rock star?
I I think it's really kind of hard to compare at this point. I think in the old days, there was probably a few that I think, top of my head.
Jason, popping in and out. Joel Johnson, Kinwald back in the day.
No, they weren't. They weren't living a rock star life.
What? Kinwald?
Yeah. No.
The entourage of people around him?
To me, the rock stars were like, what I think of is doing your thing, then you go out at night, you party, all that type of stuff. To me, it was Matt Francis, Brian Dunbar, Scott Brown. I think they were probably some of the best rock stars in the business.
Dunbar had all the chicks.
Yeah, he did. All those guys did extremely well. None of them were struggling. All, good-looking guys for their, So, yeah, I'd say they were probably the rock stars.
Are you on Wi-Fi, Jason? Or are you connected to Wi-Fi?
You want me to look?
I don't know. Does your phone automatically connect to Wi-Fi when you get home?
Jason's I'm on Wi-Fi.
Oh, all right. I just thought maybe it was on the cellular. That's why you're dropping in and out. Jason is the closest. He's living the rock star life.
Yeah, I mean, we did a little bit. Me and Scott Hughes and some of the others, we did a little bit of but we weren't on those guys' level in terms of, we weren't really like an attraction. I kind of feel like those guys were a little more of an attraction on the road. Of course, at the track itself, as you brought up, Kinwald was probably the biggest rock star at the track.
Yeah.
Because so that time you flickered too.
Oh, well, I was still on the screen, but
yeah, I saw yours flash.
This is crazy. Must be that weather down in Florida. You having the storms?
We were.
That's right. See, I think it's your interwebs going down. Maybe I ought to switch to 5G.
I mean, I could.
Yeah, who cares, right?
Yeah, so we got, Kinwald at the track definitely was a rock star. That was before internet and all that type of thing. So magazines was the only way that you saw Kinwald unless you saw them in person, and it was a bigger deal to see them in person. I mean, even for myself, I mean, and others, I think it was a big thing to see. Now you kind of feel like yours flashed right there.
This is nuts. All right, that was a great episode. Thanks for joining us. But yeah, those right away, Kinwall came to mind at the track. I guess that's a good point.
Yep.
And Joel Johnson, same thing. Because you never saw those guys like it's just in magazines. Then when you see them at a race, it's like, damn.
For me, Cliff Lett was the mega one that I remember seeing. That
really,
I felt like that was like the biggest rock star was Cliff Lett when I saw him. This day, to this. Go ahead.
Might have to end this early. In the parking lot, Jim, can't wait to listen to hear Jason's thought on the new. Oh yeah, we'll have to get to that Losi motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Zare wants to get one of those Losi cycles.
I ordered 2 today.
What? You can order them or pre-order them?
You can pre-order them.
Can you pre-order with like a bunch of fake names?
Like Gotti Jr. and Kirby Hand and Ryan Hand.
1, 2, like right under.
Burger Kinger.
Yeah. Yep. DJ4, I had them pre-ordered. You recently found that list and put it up there.
Yeah, it was great. The fact that I went to that site we were talking about on one of the last podcasts.
The Wayback Machine.
Yeah, and that was one of the screenshots it had was of that area of our pre-order list, and it said Gotti. I thought that was so amazing. I'm like, what are the chances of it showing the one where you put your name, Kirby, Ryan Hand?
Right. It's crazy, man. Alex Sturgeon says he's kept the news of the Losi motorcycle to himself for a year. So he knew about it a year ago. Wow. My thing is, you said it was 6 years in the making, Jason, or they did 6 years of research or something to develop this thing?
Well, in the video they said 3.5 years, but
okay.
But I think it's been 6 years.
All right, so it's 6 years outdated when it launches. Gotcha. All right.
I think it's been around 6 years personally.
That used to be the running joke in the day, 2 years of research, so it's 2 years outdated when it launches.
Because if you start right then, it's all new again. Is that a video game thing?
No, that was what we said at Trinity.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 years research, 2 years outdated at launch then. Alex Sturgeon saying he was a cool YouTuber at one time, but now he sucks, so he didn't get one yet. Okay.
Yeah, they gave out a few to some influencers out there, people with the biggest, probably the biggest numbers, the biggest draw.
Oh yeah. How many influencers are out there now on YouTube?
I have no idea. There's some that have a tremendous following.
Yeah.
There's 2 or 3 I think that are much higher than everyone else. But yeah,
So do we have to make? Do we have to make tires now for this motorcycle?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know which way we want to go with the podcast here at the moment. We kind of have the race. We got the.
We're all over the place.
We have our race we're talking about. We got our little BS conversations on the side.
And we got Jason popping in and out.
You popping in and out too.
No, it's just you, man. I'm fine. See, there you go. And
yours just did it. Yours just did it.
What is going on? Maybe we'll have to just try this again. But Reflex moto tires. There you go, Jason.
Who said that one?
Kyle Chasen saying Reflex moto tires.
I agree.
Right.
Oh yeah, so our topics are the Visions race, the new Losi, Pro Moto, and our little BS sidebar conversations. So we got three topics. We had the rock stars of RC, and
we covered it all in a matter of 10 minutes.
No, we didn't get to anything
I know that's what happens. We get sidetracked with the chat.
83 weeks.
Brian Thomas is saying that you got dial-up out there in the sticks. So that's what's going on. Matthew Housen, holy crap, it's Gotti. What's up, boys? What's up, Matt?
Yeah,
he's got a podcast, right?
I think he's a podcaster too. I think he was one that was. I've met him before. He was doing that one with Tim Smith for a while.
Yeah, and he had another one I thought too at one time.
Yeah, he'll have to tell us what his latest gig is.
Yeah. He says, what has made your podcast go the distance? Well, the key is to do only like 4 a year. That's the key. Yeah. Okay, so he's still doing the podcast, MBM podcast. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. That's cool. I mean, he's been around a long time too.
Well, to me, I think everybody wants to have a podcast because they want to hear themselves. But after you do it for a while, it seems like a lot of people lose interest. So what it comes down to is the dedication and the passion, just like everything else.
Right.
And do you have the dedication and the passion to keep it going consistently? Because sometimes everybody, people will get their fix. They'll try something, they'll get their fix, and they're done with it. They're over it. And
we take off
something,
certainly, but
there's something to be said for people that go the distance.
Right. Exactly. Matt is saying that we inspired his podcast to start one, and we've heard that in the past from others. So, let's face it, 2012, nobody's really heard of podcasting. There was one other one around at the time, and now we got a bunch of them. So
1,000.
Yeah. Well, my dad said, well, what's a podcast all about? I said, well, it's like back in your day, you start a rock band. So now everybody starts a podcast. Right?
Yeah.
So,
the other thing is, I bump into reels and stories when I'm just cruising the net. I bump into stories and reels and of just people podcasting. They're doing small sound bites. Even people I see pretending to do podcasts in order to and we're a new trend where people pretend to podcast so that they have something they want to say and it looks like they are being asked a question, but they really just have something they want to deliver that's in a short clip, so it makes it look like something. I've heard that's been a popular technique lately.
Oh, it's all the rage now amongst the cool kids.
Yep, it makes it you look like you're doing a podcast, and you just deliver an answer that you want to deliver and become like a trendy thing.
Okay. Wow. This seems pretty cool. Yeah, podcasters get all the hot chicks. That's right, we do. Absolutely.
The rock stars get those.
The rock stars.
Brian Thomas is a rock star.
Is he? Yeah, he's a rock star. Yeah. All right.
I'm sure he's had his fair share luck with the
ladies. I have to fill that in because Jason left. Tim Bart saying, "What's up, Jason?"
Hey, Tim. Good to see you.
When are the 8-scale Razor wings be back in stock? Yeah, that's a good question for Jason if he ever comes back in. And I think we lost them. We might have lost Jason. Well, as he tries to get back in here, Jason gets him all the good magazines. Okay. All the old RC car actions. And he's back, everyone. And
so I just went to 5G.
There you go. Let's try that. And that doesn't work. So we're just having either that. You know what? I think StreamYard might be having issues, to be honest with you. But so yeah, Matthew Housen. There he is. Jason's back again. Add him to the stream. There you go. Jeff Storm is saying my rock star skills mean nothing when it comes to chicks. They usually flock to the singers. Okay. I don't get that.
That is an unfair thing.
It is.
With rock bands is, the singers just, and it's got to be frustrating for everybody else, right?
Yeah.
Because they're thinking, I'm in the band too.
Yeah,
like, I'm in the band too. Yeah. I'm in a band too. I guess that's why it was called the front man, right?
Yeah. But, back to that question, what makes your podcast go to this? You just got to have fun with it. You can't be doing it for anything else other than fun. And, yeah, we do take hiatus here and there, but, yeah, we're still around. How many years now? Yeesh,
when did I start?
11 years. 2013.
Wow.
That's crazy, dude.
Is that 10 years? Yeah, that's 10 years.
I failed math, but I think it is. Yeah, 10.
That's 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, 10 years in April it was. So
unbelievable.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, Jason, for 10 years. A whole decade.
I didn't even get a gift or anything.
My apologies. I'll have to send one down to you.
Dude, you got to get your people on that.
I will. I definitely will.
So I saw Alex said that Alex said he was keeping the low-C motorcycle secret for a year. He loves doing his podcast with Will, which I've actually never listened to theirs, but I could imagine those guys being pretty funny together.
Yeah, they are.
I've traveled with them a little bit. They're definitely real comical.
There you go. I got to get Matthew saying I got to get you a Starbucks gift card for being on there.
Something.
A $10 Starbucks gift card.
Yeah, 10 for 10.
All right, I'll come up with something.
That doesn't even get me 2 drinks.
I wonder how many hours that comes out to. Jeez, because for a while there we were like every week.
We had some 3-hour episodes.
Yeah, that's when people complained about 3-hour episodes. I'm like, what are you complaining about? Who cares? I could care less if it's 3 hours. Like if I listen to a podcast, like Jim Cornette just came out with a podcast. It's 5 hours long. I don't look at it and be like, 5 hours. Like, okay, I'll listen to 2, pause it, come back to it later. But yeah, people used to complain. Remember, we were just like, or they wanted me to break it up into 2, and I'm like, what? Why? Just like listen to it on your own time. Yeah, exactly, Matthew. He's saying there's a pause button. They can always come back. But
or
Matt,
the speed up button.
Yeah, or Pete Phillips says he listens to us speed. We sound like chipmunks. He goes right through
like 1 point. You go 1.5. He goes like 3.5.
Right. Or don't listen at all. Just download. I don't care.
Alvin, Simon, Theodore.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Matt, that's a real thing. They were emailing us back then saying, "Hey, can you break it up into 2 pods? Like, put them up part 1 and part 2." And I never understood it. I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, just pause a thing." But people, strange thing back then. People didn't understand pods, I guess, or whatever. I don't know. Now it's just so easy. That's why there's so many podcasts. That was back when you had to figure things out. I had a microphone into a laptop that ran some kind of program I had. I think it was called Pamela. The program was actually called Pamela that I recorded everything for her.
Anderson. Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson created it. And now it's just so easy. So I think that's why, these companies make it so easy, like StreamYard and Zoom. And
I've never heard her podcast, but I saw her videos.
What are you talking about? Pamela?
Pamela, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Never heard her podcast, but I saw her videos.
Okay. Well, she didn't have a podcast that I'm aware of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, back in the day, we always used Skype.
Mm-hmm.
And what a disaster that was. Every time we logged in, we had to change our password. Updates.
There'd be updates.
Yeah.
The updates is what was killing you. It'd just crash everything.
Crash everything, and then it would be like, your password wouldn't be right. I had to reset my password. Can't use the same password you used before. And I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
Was nuts. But it was fun. And now it's just really easy.
The early days of podcasting.
Though now we're going back with you disappearing, which I think you might have corrected now by switching.
Okay.
You going in and out there, that's just like the old days of audio, in and out and whatever. But
well, we were trying to recreate some of the magical.
Yeah.
Some of the magical times. Enjoy.
Yeah. Jason, what videos have you watched of Pam? Was it the Pam and Tommy video?
I watched the show they had. Was it on Netflix? The series.
Oh yeah, I remember you and Kirby talking about that. You were trying to get me to watch
there it is,
that.
Pam and Tommy. That's what Brian just said. That it's actually pretty funny. It's pretty graphic, really. I didn't expect that part, but
you had to close Jazzy's eyes.
Yeah, earmuffs. So yeah, it was pretty funny. Just kind of really made you think.
Yeah. Back in the day, Jason, remember we used to record while you were on the road?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I'd go and get my drink.
Go through Starbucks. We even had a soundbite. Well, I still have it on my old laptop. The Starbucks employee saying, "You're listening to the Radio podcast."
That's right. I forgot about that.
I got to dig that out. That was awesome.
We're like interviewing Jay Halsey, and I'm like coming out of the airport in Boston, going through tunnels.
Oh man, people used to complain though too. Messages, like, "Oh, the audio was terrible on that one." It's like that's what made it cool.
We're awesome. We're in Boston. I'm going in the tunnels underneath the water, whatever they call that thing. It was the Big Dig, I think, is what they called it when they built it. But I remember doing all that, and I'm just like, I can't believe we're.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I did a podcast from in my car once too, like actually going down.
And your bathtub.
Yeah, because somebody complained that we sound like we're in the shower, so I did the.
You actually did one in there.
In the shower, yeah. Now, looking back on it, it'd been awesome to have StreamYard or something, where you could see me in the shower. You could.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I had to turn the shower on to prove it.
We could do that like as a 10th anniversary show.
Yeah. Kirby Hand says I'm wearing the Dice Clay glasses.
I totally agree. That's what I think of.
I love them because it makes everything it blocks out the blue light from the screen, and I'm getting a nice clear view of everything. My eyes don't get so tired during the podcast then. Yeah. All right. What's jamming up to now? And he's still making movies.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that Jay got into, I just saw him at Nitro Challenge, and he texts me every now and then. But when we were at Nitro Challenge, he was telling me about, he's been in the television and commercial business since he was a kid, and he started, when he did the movies, like he did Ghostbusters 2, he did the not Dirty Harry, but the Clint Eastwood movie Deadpool. He did that movie, and then he got really serious into that game and became the contact that you had to know in Hollywood, if you needed any type of driving, you know, driving anything, radio control, he was the guy you went to, and he did a bunch of commercials. I mean, I asked him when we were there. I'm like, how many of these things do you think you've done? And he's like, thousands.
Can yeah, can't be
He's like, I
counted.
don't know. He's like, I don't know. And he was showing me his latest thing that he was working on. Um, the video, some of the recent videos he was doing. He was sharing some stories about them, and
Hmm.
it was one for a golf ball, I believe. I don't know if it was the driver or the golf ball, but his job was to drive the camera car. And these camera cars, he's made all this stuff in the old days, and he would make, camera cars and all that stuff. Well, now they have such sophisticated vehicles that um, have the cameras on them that that stuff is like flown in and rented, and then he has to drive it. And the one he did is he was showing me all these shots he did where they bring the pro golfer in to hit the ball, right? So they're like on a whatever, a driving range or a green or whatever they're on, and the guys just so they're like, all right, here's what we want you to do. We want you to drive the camera car like in front of him while he's hitting the ball, so that we got that shot of the swing from the front with the ball coming right either at or over the camera car. So they have all these specific instructions what they want him to do, and he kind of tells them, look, there. I know he said there's a lot of impossible things they ask you. Like, can you do this and that? And like, look, it doesn't really work like that. You know what I mean? I can't get that for you.
Right.
But then they kind of settle on what he can do. And yeah, so he had video of showing me what he was doing, where he was running the car, and that was really cool. So he does a lot of that kind of stuff. Um, so what was the second one he did? So he showed me the golf one. Then he showed I believe it was the Hummer, the latest Hummer, the maybe it was the
The all
electric one.
electrical? Yeah.
And he did a commercial for that, I believe. And so they set him up where the Hummer's driving straight at him. He said, I believe it was a Hummer. The vehicle's driving straight at him, and they wanted him to drive the camera car right underneath the Hummer. So he said, I'm on the ground, and the vehicle's driving straight at me, and they want me to drive this right under the car. And he said that it all sounds good, but he said that this camera car thing that they build is very big, and and he said just like the sheer width of it, he's like when the car was going over the top, he's like I only had a few inches to spare on like each side of the
Jeez.
camera thing when I'm driving underneath the vehicle. And he said the other thing is he said he told the guy, he's like, I need to talk to the driver of this vehicle that's driving. And they're like, why? You don't talk to the driver. And he said, no, we need to be on the same page, because if something happens and he's driving straight at me and I'm driving straight at him, we need to know. We need to have a bailout program here. We need to have a plan
Yeah.
so that in case you have to bail out, we know what the other guy is doing. And um, and Jay was awesome talking about it. And he said he talked to the driver. They worked it all out, and he said the thing went over really well. The camera went right under as supposed to, with a little couple inches to spare on each side. They got the shot, and everybody was happy.
Hmm. Dang. Now the SpongeBob movie, did he do that too? The new one?
No, the SpongeBob movie, that was interesting because they called our office um, about somebody that needed to drive an RC car for the SpongeBob movie, and Allison actually hooked them up with a driver we had that was in California at the time, Craig Kaplan, and he drove the SpongeBob RC car for the movie. But it was, through J Concepts to Craig Kaplan, and he drove the SpongeBob vehicle in that whole movie, and he did really well. He said that the same thing, like the director or whoever would ask, can you do this, this, and this? And like, well, not exactly like what you're asking for. This is what I can do. Because there's limitations of the vehicle, and I think it was a heavily modified Slash with like a fish tank on it, is what he was driving. Because that's what the movie was. I don't know anything about SpongeBob, but he was in a fish tank with his friends, and he came on the land, is what it was. SpongeBob came out of the ocean into the land. He was in this fish tank driving around, and so he had to drive this Slash with a fish tank on it, and did really well. He said that he did the very first scene. He said the director gave him a high five, and he was just like, sweet. He's like, I did good. Yep. So he said he was happy. That went over well. But yeah, Jay Halsey's the man in that field, and Jay is actually racing again, RC cars.
Wow.
They have a track out there in California that a lot of guys have been running at called Huckleberry RC. Lately, everybody seems to be running e-buggies. So I've talked to several friends of mine, like Jay Halsey, Chris McElroy, Richard Saxton, Steve Chamberlain. I think Nick Walnuts, he goes out there to race with the guys. And they all just have a blast running e-buggies out at this track. And Jay called, got a couple things from us, that he needed. And so he's having fun. I mean, the guy has an unbelievable career, really, with RC cars, but in a completely different capacity. I mean, he won the first Worlds, of course. Everybody knows him for that with the RC10, but that was just a small opening, probably for him to be the man in movies and television for so many years now, and has a career doing it. Pretty amazing. And he still drives.
Damn. And he's probably still good.
Yeah. I would imagine. Yeah, he has always had a lot of talent for it. He sent me a picture the other day of him racing a three-wheeler. He's like, this is a picture of me racing my three-wheeler when I was 17 years old. And I thought it was pretty amazing because I had posted something on my story with a three-wheeler. And he's like, hey, that reminded me, here's when I was racing my three-wheeler. And kind of cool. I mean, this is probably, it's probably mid-'80s. I mean, I'd say it's probably.
Oh, yeah. It's back when they were popular.
84. Yeah, 84, 85, probably before the four-wheeler generation hit. But yeah, that's another one. People is a real famous driver, and everyone likes to see him in person. So yeah, he's one of those famous guys, rock stars. He was one of he may be the original rock star.
The original.
He might be the original.
Matthew Housens says it's a production thing. I'm about to graduate from Toronto Film School. Wow. Damn, there you go.
Yeah, obviously he's
in the film.
Yeah, what Jay mentioned that these camera cars that they use, you don't use any traditional RC equipment. He said it's all like their own radio, and it's like almost like a box thing, like that's kind of how he was describing it to me. Like it's almost like he had to learn how to drive that. It's not like he's out there with
their own radio.
Yeah, it's because there's different functions, and he said it doesn't work exactly how you think it would work. He said it took some training even on his end to drive it properly. But he said they're extremely expensive units. I forget what he said. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
These machines that he's driving. Not to mention the camera equipment on top of it. He said there's a lot of waivers and things you have to sign and everything. He's like, look, I'm not responsible for any of this stuff.
Right.
And they're fine with it. They're like, okay.
Yeah. Cool.
So, yeah, it's he's doing good.
Jason, are you going to Wicked Weekend? Tim Barth is
I'm not
asking.
personally going. The weekend before that is the Roar E Nationals up in New York at CRC. I'm gonna go to the E Nationals, and then Paul, Tyler, and Hannah are gonna go to Wicked Weekend. So we got it back to back there.
Back to back. All right, so maybe we get a little bit back on track, maybe with the visions. Whoa, getting a phone call. I'm gonna turn my. Jason, are you calling me? Can we get back to the visions race at all? Or did we,
like I said,
or has that ship sailed?
No, I mean, like I said, with the ability these days with photos and videos, it's really hard to even still explain.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching some of it, and it seems like there's a lot of commercials for what they were doing there, and it's like, wow. I kind of feel like RC was, I don't want to say an afterthought, but
Well, at something like that, it is an afterthought. But
is that the right word? Yeah, I mean it.
well, it's the last of their concerns because of everything that is going on there. It probably has the least amount of people involved. So, because it's so new, it's their second year doing RC there. So maybe we have everybody combined, maybe 100 people that are doing the RC event, right? And they might have several thousand doing everything else. So we're still a small portion of the crowd there. But, the owner of that property made a ton of improvements from the year that we were there before to this year. There's all kinds of asphalt paving. They removed more trees for more, area to run the rally cars. They had Travis Pastrana was running his rally series out there this year, and they had his Nitro Circus event there as well. So, this is big time names coming in there, and that whole facility, they're really embracing these new opportunities, and they're building and spending a bunch of money. And even the RC side, the year before they built the driver stand, they built the track. The only mistake they made the year before is they put the Tri-Me track right next to the actual racetrack. And there was some kind of misunderstanding because Joey wanted to use that whole area for the racetrack, but by the time he got there, they had kind of already set it up a little bit. So this year they put the Tri-Me track up on the asphalt, and then they used the whole area for the dirt racetrack. And the racers didn't like the dirt last year because it had tons of rocks in it, like big rocks, and it made it hard. It made it harder to keep it consistent, and they were having a hard time getting the rocks out of the cars. They would fly up into the wheels and into the chassis, and so they brought them all new dirt. The owner, they brought Joey all new dirt, and he built a whole new track on the larger, used all the space, and had this new dirt. And it rained one day where it kind of got some rain ruts, flooded the front straightaway. Joey pumped the water off. They kind of got things sorted out, and I mean, they just watered it from there on out. The track was amazing. The dirt was really good. It stayed put together. The jump faces stayed nice. Um, they would water it whenever they could, and the water hung in there pretty well. You know, it stayed in the dirt for quite a bit of time, even though the sun was out and it was warm. And I think the dirt was a major improvement. The size of the track was a major improvement. The layout itself, the racers felt was kind of on the simple side, but everybody was running very close in speed. So I think if there was any critique, it would have been that the racers wish there was like a difficult part of the track somewhere that there would be more crashing or there would be some more separation so that the rate, so it wouldn't be so like, you know, the drivers wouldn't be in such a, you know, freight train going around.
Right.
So I think in general, it was a success. It's great for the drivers that can win the money. It's an outstanding amount of money that they can win. You know, if you have a perfect weekend as a pro, if you sweep, if you win all three main events, you can win almost $15,000 for first place. But realistically, you're probably looking at around like what Ty won. I think he won 5,000 for winning, and then 1,500 for a main. So he won 6,500 just from the nitro class. And then he won e-buggy too, so he won another 1,000 there. So his total payday was 7,500.
Ooh, I could buy you a decent mountain bike.
There you go. Kirby could get that down payment in on another bike.
Yeah, down payment. I'm sorry, they're 11 grand.
Yeah, I mean that's not a full payment on his
Yeah,
on his rides.
my apologies. Yeah, Alex was saying that the layout was awesome, but not as good for TV. Not enough carnage. So, like you were saying,
Yeah,
yeah,
they needed one difficult section that kind of would cause the guys to crash here and there and break it up a little so that there was a little more. Like if you started out front and you're one of those guys like Mayfield, Tessman, Spencer, a couple guys that would start out front, you're gone. I mean, you really weren't going to lose
wow,
starting from the first spot because they didn't crash. And then the other second through whatever, they're battling each other, and you could just kind of stretch it. But yeah, you needed a couple areas in there to kind of make it a little bit of a little better race, I guess. I liked watching the races. I thought it was a great watch, and everybody was truly pretty excited about it. And we had some spectators. They still had a grimy track out there. That A main hobbies, Troy Hansen, kind of spearheading that whole Try Me track, and he got a sponsorship with A main this year. HPI Racing supplied a lot of the Try Me vehicles. I think it was their short course trucks were on the Try Me track, and then they had a bunch of their vehicles out there.
yeah,
Just on
kids
display.
must have had a blast with that.
Yeah, they had a steady little stream of kids and adults coming over to drive on the Try Me track, so that was a success.
And then you had hobby shops there, like somebody set up to sell stuff.
Well, up front they have like a big, I don't know what it is. That's almost like a power sports store up front.
Okay.
They had RC stuff in there, like the HPI stuff. I don't think they turned it into like a hobby shop, but they had some things there. And then, you know, I put on my story I sent you guys the photos of Brandon's with Live RC. Well, they're live race media out there, but their whole setup with their big production truck and their trailer, and they had their old trailer out there, so they had multiple crews because they do the media coverage for the entire event. So like,
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, so not only are they
That
doing like the RC part, but they're doing like several other like the UTV races and stuff. So I think he said they had two or three teams of media people that were there, and I mean that production truck's impressive. The guys know what they're doing in there. Brandon, um,
yeah,
you know,
it reminded me of the Ripcast studio here.
yeah,
Yeah, I was like, damn, that looks familiar.
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of looking forward to the event now. I think from a turnout standpoint, they could definitely have more entries. There's a lot of little caveats, I guess you could say, with getting into that event and signing up because they kind of have like a pay to get through the gate price.
Oh, so
So,
yeah, like
so
Motorama.
in order, yeah, so in order to get in, you have to pay to get in. Then there's an entry fee for the RC race. So, um,
I
I
think
would say
Motorama
that's
is like you
probably.
pay for the entry fee, it gets you into the event, or they combine them somehow. I thought.
I don't
Uh,
remember how they do it, but
yeah.
it's inexpensive at Motorama compared to other like things.
Yeah, what's
Like
it cost to get into that gate?
it was $250 for the week. So like
For
that's
the
what I paid.
you had access the whole week.
Yeah, I
Wow.
think they were doing like forty
So
dollars a day for kids and
okay.
like 50 or 60 adult per day, and then there was like a week charge, which I bought the week one because we were there several days, and you get your wristband and um, all that kind of stuff. But I would say to grow the RC part a little bit, they're going to have to figure out a way to maybe supply a different wristband for doing the RC portion so that because a lot of people when they come to race the RC cars, they're not really participating in anything else.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like for me, I only went up by the pool to the bar area and hung out with everybody, but I never actually left that area by the RC track. So, for me to buy a $250 pass or whatever it was, it's kind of worthless because I'm only at the RC track and up by the pool.
Yeah.
So, I think in the future they might have to figure out a little better way to do that so they can entice more RC racers to kind of come in and do it. Because if you're there to race RC cars, you don't really have an extreme amount of time to enjoy everything else. Now, you can make the time if you want. And we talked about that
About
before.
time. Yep. Making time.
You can make the time, but a lot of the racers aren't making the time because they'd rather work on their RC cars.
Right.
Right? That's why they're there. They're there to race. They like that part of it. So I think what they'll have to figure out a way to do is charge you to do the RC part. And then if you want to add to that somehow, maybe there's some kind of an additional. But for me, if they just charged me like, say it was $40 or $50 to get in for the whole week to do the RC race, then my entry fee, I think that would be a little more realistic because I'm not doing anything else but the RC part. So,
Yeah.
but but guys like Mayfield and some of his buddies, they did stay after and they went into the bleachers and they watched a little bit of everything. Um, there's they have, I believe it's 250 camping spots with water and power. So like Jared Wiggins, the guy that races for us this year, runs for Techno. He was there with his family and they got a spot, a camping spot, and there was 250 of those, and he said it sold out in 15 minutes.
Hmm.
And those camping spots were like $1,100 or $1,200 each, something like that. And
Wow.
but when they were camping there, it allowed them to go out a little bit more at night and watch some of these other events that actually were taking place that night. So, for me, we were in a hotel, so we left when the race was over, RC race, and we went to the hotel and eat and all that. But they were staying there, so they got a little bit more value out of their stay than definitely more than I did.
Yeah.
But the format of the RC race is cool for the invite, and there's money on the line, even in the open classes. There's several drivers winning. I would probably, going forward, I would probably be a little more picky or restrictive on who could run the open class, and I would kind of round up everybody that I felt was able to race in that invite, get them in there, and then get that open class a little more open, so the money was a little bit more accessible for others to win, I guess. But there were some cool things that happened there, and having Brandon with his A team of people, that's kind of the event where he kind of shows you what they can do, and they have a pretty big A team. Recently at some of the regular RC races, they don't really have their big or an A team there. They just might have Scotty in a camera or two, but it's not like they have the big production truck and all the elaborate stuff like this race does. So because they want to put it on TV, it's recorded for television. They got the all the content. Last year's was on television on Mav TV. This one's going to be on Speed Sport. It's a new network, I guess.
Okay.
And so they had Ken Stout and Mike Garrison doing the actual commentary. And what else? And then they had Scotty Ernst, of course, doing the pit reporter. So it was, and then Jimmy Babcock was the race announcer. So and then you had Joey the Dirt and Aaron building the track with their dirt crew. I mean, they got the A team out there. Nice. It's like we talked about earlier, like being a rock star. I mean, they have the rock stars out there of our little business. They definitely have the rock stars out there working this event.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I mean, it looked good on TV. Got the green infields, which I enjoy. You know that.
Yeah, they
good.
Worked hard on that. They repainted them 2 or 3 times because of either weather or just.
Yeah, they're like, we got to do this because Scotty says we have to do this. So
yeah, they're like, guys, there's no arguments here.
Right.
We just have to. This is when the guy says to get it done, you get it done.
Yeah. If he doesn't like it, he's going to tell his tens of listeners.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, Ty Tessman ended up winning the overall. Like we said, he won $6,500.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard about that kid in a while, so I was like, oh, what, Ty won? It's like,
yeah, I'm not going to say that he. He had a dominating 2 years in 8 scale, and he did really well in 10 scale. He had about 2 years in 8 scale where he was, I'm not going to say undefeated, but he won a lot of races. Around 2012, 13, 14, that area, 2012 to 2014, he was really dominant. Probably had one of, if not the best car, one of, if not the best engine program, one of the top tire programs, and he was driving at the top level. Him and his dad were on the same page. But after that time, Mayfield got on Losi, then or TLR, and a lot of movement started happening, and some new racers started coming into the picture. Then we had our worldwide racers like Ronald Falk, Ungaro coming into their own, and then Mayfield and Tebow, Cavallari, and Dakota kind of reemerged as threats there for several years, and then it kind of trickled down where I'm not going to say Cavallari and Jared fell down a little bit, but a little bit, and Mayfield was really at the top of his game last 2 or 3 years in 8 scale. And then we had, like Spencer Rivkin coming in there and other fresh faces. And it hasn't been as easy for Ty to win or dominate like it did in those days. But he's still been really fast. He's won a couple of events, not like he did in that era, but something. This year he's been running, I think, a little better than the year before. He's been in contention. He won Nitro Challenge in Truggy. And then we had the Roar Nationals we talked about the last show. He was in second place. Dakota was checked out at the Roar Nats, but Ty was in second place, and he was lapping some cars, and a car hit him backwards, kind of. They collided, and Ty broke a front mount, I believe.
Right.
I think it was aluminum that blew off the car, but anyway, so he would have got second at the Nationals, I believe, and broke. He collided with a lap car, broke. So it's almost like he kind of came to this Visions race, and it just like he got like all the everything kind of went his way. But like he had that bad situation happen there at the Nationals where he broke, and it's almost like he came to this Visions. He was really motivated. He didn't let the Nationals thing seem like it didn't get him down, and he almost came out, he kind of came out on the better end of it, actually. I'm sure it would have been hard at the Nationals to win $7,500 for second place, and at this race he ended up getting both wins, and Dakota gave him a pretty good run in e-buggy, although Dakota didn't really have a weekend like he's used to recently. Dakota was pretty quick in e-buggy, and they ran to the line, but I think Ty was definitely the better nitro car all weekend. He had his consistency, he had speed, didn't have any problems really in the 3 mains. That was kind of Mayfield's Achilles heel, is in the 3rd main. They came in to do the pit stop, and it was kind of unique really because all 3 drivers that were in contention for the overall win, which was Ty, Mayfield, and Spencer, they all came into the pits on the exact same lap. So it was like clutch driving turning into clutch pit work, and Mayfield flamed out coming out of the pits.
Oh, man.
So that kind of ended his chance to win the overall. But he got fired back up. He got out there, and he said in his interview, I saw he did an interview with Scotty there, and he said he had, after he flamed out, he said, I had a couple crybaby moments, and then I kind of got my stuff together, and I passed a couple cars, and he still got 3rd overall, because it's a points race.
Right.
And all three mains count with points. So, and Ryan was fortunate enough to win the 2nd main. He won the 2nd main. He got 25 points for that. I believe he got 18 points in the 1st main, and then the last main he got, after he flamed out, he got enough points to get 3rd overall. And Ty won the 1st main. That's where he started first. He got 2nd in the 2nd main.
Yeah.
And then the third main, he actually got 2nd in the 3rd main. Spencer won the last main. So each one of those 3 guys won a main, and they finished 1, 2, 3.
1, 2,
I had
3,
fun.
3, 2,
I liked it. I had fun. I would, if they had it next week, I would go back and do it all over again. Like, yeah, I just, to me, it was pretty cool.
Not paying it this time.
Yeah, I'd be like, hey, I'm just here. I was just here.
I was here last week, guys.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Trust me, I hang out at the RC track all day.
Yeah. Dude, Jason breaking up his 5G's giving out. Running out of cricket minutes. I was going to ask you something. Oh, I think I might have lost Jason, actually. Jason, did I lose you? Let's remove Jason. Oh, he's back. All right, there he is.
I think I'm back.
Yeah. Back to the pit stops real quick. I see people post like, yeah, that's what I said. I said that while you were gone. I said your cricket minutes is. Give you a little warning. You have 1 minute left. The pit stops. Like I see people post about like, look how fast this pit stop is, but man, they look all the same to me, dude. Like they're all quick. They're all good. Like the pros.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you impressed by
The
pit
difference
stops, really?
I am.
Because they're all. I mean, it's
because
impressive
I've
how
done
fast they do it, but I mean, like, I don't know who it was. They posted on Facebook. They're like, check this pit stop out, and I'm thinking they all look like that. Like they're quick.
Well, we did a reel. Yeah, we did a reel. Hannah put together of Dakota and his pit guy. So it's this is probably one of the ones you saw where Mike Sontag was pitting for Dakota, and she got
maybe that was it.
His pit stop, and it was really fast. But there's so many things to this.
But you can't get much faster than what he's doing. The pit stop.
I mean, yeah, I mean, when I remember when we first started racing gas truck, and I remember this was in the 90s, we started racing gas truck, and I remember MIP and Eustace Moore were talking about making something to do fuel stops, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, at the time, I was like, well, how much faster can you do it in 2 seconds? You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
I mean, are we talking about 1 second here? You know what I mean? But really, the pit stop is really from the moment you driving off the line. What's that? Right.
Yeah, the moment you enter the pit lane.
The moment, you start to get off of line, you go into pit lane, you get up on the top, your guy catches, release, down, back out on the track. So the fuel going in the car, I think, is actually one of the not easiest, but one of the quickest parts of the whole thing. It's actually maneuvering with the other cars that might be coming in and out of pit lane at the same time.
Okay.
Does the driver make a mistake driving into one of the walls? Lots of times they have bars when you enter, they have bars when you exit pit lane. So sometimes your wing or the car will hit that. Sometimes you just graze something and the car spins sideways. And I always say, when I've pitted, and I haven't done it a lot, I've pitted for Ryan and some other guys, and I haven't done it a lot, but usually you put your hand up like this, signifying that, hey, drive to me, right?
Yeah.
And it's all fun and games until your driver hits the side of the pit lane or another car hits him, and then the whole thing just goes to hell.
It falls apart, yeah.
And it's like all of a sudden now it's not simple anymore. The car's sideways. You got to get the car back to you. You got to set it up on the wall. You got to get your fuel in there. Like, it goes from like, I got this, I'm an expert, here it comes, to, oh shit, I'm going to look like a dumbass.
Right.
And you're like you're fumbling the car, you're getting it up on pit lane, and you're putting the fuel in. And this seems like those are the ones that, and when that happens, the chances of the car not responding very well to it is just as high. Like, once you start getting discombobulated and the car is like, you're fumbling the car and you're trying to get it on the pit wall, like, the chance of it flaming out now is like going up all the time, it seems like.
Right.
So, but when you see the guys that do it well, they drive the car in straight and smooth, right into the guy. It's up, the tank opens, fuel goes in, and you got to look down pit lane and the car goes right back out. That's really all there is to it if the car comes in clean.
Right.
Um, I would say of all the people you watch, the funniest guy to watch is Adam Drake pit a car because there's absolutely no emergency whatsoever. He just
Calm,
stands there
cool,
like
collective.
he just stands there like nothing. The car comes in, he picks it up, he puts the fuel in, and he just goes. Like you're like it's really that easy. But
And even if it gets a little squirrely on him, just
he yeah, he
keeps his
does. He seems
composure.
to he keeps his composure. Whereas like you'll see these RC dads that they're just like whoa, they're like running all over the place and they got the fuel gun in their hand and they're accidentally pulling the trigger and the fuel's falling out and they get the car and they dump fuel in the car, it goes everywhere. It's like it's the fuel's just
That's what I'd be doing.
trailing the car as it comes out, and
Right.
their kids are yelling at them through their headsets, "Dad, you flooded my car!" And it's like those are the ones you see a lot some
Yeah.
of the races, but
Right.
really it's maintain. You cannot really make up much time in the pits. Unless you like the video of Mike Sontag who does it all himself in one motion, that's probably the fastest you're going to do it. And there's two different directions. Like in this case, our last two races actually is a good example. The Nationals end this race where the cars come in backwards because really the fuel access to the cab to
Mhm.
fuel the car is on the left side or our driver's side here. You really want the car to come in right to left the way the car's built because that's really the side the fuel tank's on. So if it comes in right to left, most people can handle the car as a one person operation because it's on that side. But uh, when the pit lane comes in the opposite direction, where the car's coming in and the fuel tank's on the opposite side, you kind of have to either be able to um, fuel with your left hand with the fuel gun, or they turn the car. You have two people in the pits, and one picks up and turns the car to you, and then you fuel it, and then you're down.
Mm.
So So the last two races we've been at, the pit lane has actually been backwards. You've come in
Wow.
backwards, and that adds a little bit of complexity. And impressively, what was good about that Mike Sontag pit is it was backwards. That was the pit lane coming in the wrong way, and he did it by himself and in one motion.
Okay.
So that's what was kind of impressive about that pit Mike did on our video because it was kind of backwards. So
Yeah.
there is a lot to the pits, and I feel like no matter how good it is or how good you are, there is that opportunity that the car just does not come in straight. It hooks something, it spins, and now all hell breaks loose, and it just feels like a cluster after that. But and that happened to Ryan once over the weekend. He came in, he he got on the rail, the car spun in to the pit lane, the guy had to turn it straight for him. Then he drove in, he lost a spot. I mean, I would say Ryan probably had two or three instances in the pits at that Visions that um, cost him some spots. And two of them I think were his own fault. One just happened to be a problem with the pitting itself because just maybe trying to be a little too fast, or like I said, if it comes in wrong, you go from calm to oh no, I gotta get going.
Yeah.
And once that happens, it just seems like you can't slow down and correct time there. It either all happens smooth and great, or it's like, oh, we're in for
Total chahos.
So yeah, I'd say he probably had three bad pit issues over the weekend that cost him some space or some time, but it does happen. I mean, the Testmans are usually really good at pits, and I think they had an issue. Uh, um, so it's just something you can. And every pit lane's different. It's not like you're, oh well, once you've done one pit lane, you've done them all. They're like every single track, they're all different. Some are plywood, some have roll roofing on it, some are wire mesh. Some are plywood. The ramps going in and out are usually never the best. There's a bar when you enter them up top, so you can't go too fast. And sometimes there's holes at the bottom, and you hit that, and the car just goes right into the pipe. I mean, there's
so many variables.
I mean, at the Nationals, they had a big turn at the end. You had to go down the ramp and then make a complete left-hander, then a 90-degree corner coming out.
They made you drive for that one.
The old Silver State that they had at Boulder City, there was a huge ramp coming up and going down. That one always looked really hard to me. There's been some that have some tight turns, and I think the one at the Worlds this year in Spain, or last year, there was a pretty good little turn in that one as well. That it's like another part of the race. Like it's not like pitting is. It's almost like the less you can pit, the better off you are, because it's just one less time you have to worry about even driving in and out of pit lane.
They should have trapdoors where you come up onto the platform and you don't know if the trapdoor is going to open or not.
That'd be that's like a Psycho Nitro Blast thing.
Yeah, there you go.
P&B could do that.
There you go. I just gave you the idea.
You're like, well, I was racing and I was winning, and then I hit the trapdoor, and
I went to the pit lane and the trapdoor opened, down, gone.
I was gone, and there goes my race.
Yeah, it's a damn great idea, especially for those races that you mentioned. Alex Sturgeon saying he never builds a track with the opposite pit direction anymore. So he did at one time. Paul Wynn checking in. Oh, go ahead. You ran what?
I ran a couple races at Alex's track in Nitro before they had the roof on it. And yeah,
was the opposite?
I don't really remember. I feel like one went one way and one went the other. Yeah. John Faulkner.
Well, why would you do that to the racers, Alex? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not fair. Paul Wynn saying the best is when the guy puts a fuel gun in the head of the engine and pulls the trigger. That's damn. That's hilarious. I love it.
I had one of the most embarrassing pits one time with Mayfield asked me.
You were pitting for Mayfield?
Yeah, it was a warm-up race. It was like a Nationals warm-up at Thornhill.
Thank God, because I know how nervous you get at Mayfield.
And, well, no, it was one of those things where I felt pretty confident it was going to be okay. I was pitting with Tyler Hooks' dad, Doug, because I was like, hey, it'd be nice to have somebody help me. And I was thinking, oh, yeah, we got this. And this one pit that we had was everything that could go wrong basically went wrong in one pit stop. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oof, man, this is just not going well. And, like, Ryan didn't really yell at us, but I could, like...
You could feel it.
I could feel it big time. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like...
Yeah.
Okay, well, I know that was bad, but... It was bad.
It's just a warm-up. Calm down.
Everything that could have gone wrong in that pit went wrong. And then I had a couple decent ones once.
Once?
We had a couple of Southern Nats or something. I pitted a couple times there with Mark Murrow. We had I don't think we had any problems there.
Yeah, it's got to be nerve-wracking, though. You don't want to screw the race up for him.
Well, like Ryan says, when you talk to him, he's like, look, just put fuel in the car. Like he's like, it's not that hard.
Don't put it in the engine. Put it
You know,
in
he's
the
like,
fuel
just put
tank.
fuel in it. It's not that hard. And it's like, well, it is
It is
kind of
that
hard
hard
because the second
because you're
that the
always
car
winning.
comes in, the second that comes in, the car comes in and it bobbles or hits something, it turns sideways. It just
Yeah.
all of a sudden it goes from a real easy thing to a really difficult thing. And it's like the more things that go wrong, you feel like Ryan's getting closer to looking over your shoulder when
Right.
you're in pit lane. It's like, it starts up, he's on top of the driver's stand, and like as more things are happening, like pretty soon he's like right
Right
here,
on top
like
of you. Yeah.
right in here, and you're just like, trust me, we're getting it done.
Trust the process, Mayfield. Trust it. I mean, it's got to be easier for like, if your guy's out there and he's running 10th, like who cares, right?
Yeah, I
But
mean, there's no pressure on you, but I mean,
right,
that's
you got guys like Mayfield. If you're pitting for him, it's like he's
well,
going
and
to be
it
up
makes a
front.
difference. It
Yeah,
makes a difference when
right.
they're racing because they're racing for they're racing for tenths of a second. And if your pit is not on par, it might take a guy like if he's, in this situation, you're racing Ryan versus Ty versus Spencer versus whoever, it might take him half a race to make up 3 seconds, but you could lose 3 seconds in the pits like nothing. Like it can happen so fast. And, but it could take half a race to make up 3 seconds on the track. So, when you talk to Ryan, he's like, look, all you guys want me to be perfect on the track. I get it. But just when I come in and pit, I want you to be perfect too. And it's like, okay, I get it.
Right.
Makes sense. Which he's right. I mean, it's like, he's out there driving for 30, 40, 45 minutes. He's not making mistakes. And he comes in the pits and it takes 5 seconds more than Dakota's guy. It's like, hey, good luck making up that 5 seconds.
Have fun with that. So I guess we'll never change tires in the pits then.
I mean, it only happens when something's coming off or
Right.
something
Yeah.
breaks.
I kind of propose
Which we've
that
done that
idea.
before too. I think we had to do that at several races. We had to do that. So I mean, everyone's had it happen.
You imagine somebody coming in changing tires?
No, but it happens. I mean,
No, I mean like just like I'm in the lead. I got 40 minutes to go.
We did it in gas truck. Gas
Huh?
truck, they came out with quick change rear wheels. When we were racing gas truck racing, Losi was the first to have a quick change rear wheel.
Wow.
And then Tebow and his dad figured out a way to kind of have a quick change rear on their Associated truck. Then when they redesigned the Associated truck for the GT2, they made it with quick change rear hubs. So we used quick change. So it was pretty neat, really. It worked well.
I'm interested.
Because then you're running like really low tread tires for the speed, and they'd wear out, and you have a 45-minute main. You'd come on, poof, pop 2 new ones on, and it was quick.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool. What would be neat today is what we didn't have then is we didn't have the headsets back then.
Right.
So being able to race a gas truck with a headset and being able to talk to your driver and say, do you want to change tires? Right. And so you could kind of talk about that along with your pit stop and say, no, I think I'm going along pretty good. I don't need to change tires. Or you need to say, yeah, I definitely need to change tires. This thing's becoming impossible to drive.
Right.
So yeah, that would be kind of interesting. That was something that it kind of came along too late in gas truck racing.
Near the end.
Yeah, it was right near the end, but it would have been really neat. And that would have been another great thing for video. We didn't really have the video back then, like live RC and pit lane cams. And, at this race at Visions, they had Paul was telling me they put like, to me, what it looked like was like a thing you put your baby in. like
Yeah.
it goes on your
Carrier.
shoulders from the
Yep.
front. And you could like, but they took that part off and they put a camera on the front, so
The body
there
cam.
was a pit.
Yep.
They had a body cam, yeah, for pit lane, and it actually turned out really cool. They had
Yeah.
one of Katie pitting Jared Wiggins. They had a Drew Spurgeon was wearing it when he pitted Ryan. There's several pit lane cams, but what would be cool is doing the gas truck thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Paul Wynn's saying, unfortunately, quick change hubs and axles aren't legal in 8 scale. Damn. Why don't we make them legal? Jeez, I'd love to see that.
Well,
We could
become
just do
more
it out
president.
of some... become more president. Yeah.
You could do it.
When's,
You're like,
when's
I
that
have
up?
one change I want to make.
That's I want to see that, man. I could do it at a fundraiser, right? Not a serious try.
Oh yeah, but yeah, if we had the cameras
Yeah.
that we have now, and we had the gas truck racing with the ability to change the tires and do the fuel, it'd make really a cool video, because now it's like, oh, is he going to change tires? And all of a sudden you're changing tires, and it'd be pretty cool.
I guess you could make it like a rule. You have to at least change tires once in an hour-long meeting. What would be wrong with that?
I don't know.
So you figure like halfway through, you got to come in and you're going to come in and probably change your tires halfway through. So
I got my tire here that I
I just stumbled on something.
Gave to Mike Garrison, and Brandon Rohde asked me to cut a tire apart here to show, so they could. They're going to do a segment. They're going to do a segment on the TV show where they show what RC tires look like and how they look cut apart. So so Mike Garrison had this set up, and they're going to have the video, I believe, in the broadcast TV. So I cut this open so that it would be easy to see kind of the insert in the tire, the way it kind of fits together. So I think it'll be kind of, hopefully they get to use it.
Yeah, well, that's cool.
Luckily, Dakota messed up one of his tires when he was gluing it, and then so I had to give him one. I had to do one tire.
Yeah.
Give one extra tire to Dakota, so then we had a non-matching set. So then I was like, oh, when they asked to do this, I'm like, oh, I got another tire I could use that Dakota didn't use. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's something to think about.
Cool
Quick
stuff.
change tires. Just make it mandatory that make it legal. Make it mandatory. You got to change tires at least one time during the race.
They do have it in 8 scale on road, quick change tires.
Wow.
So like the badass 8 scale on road cars, they quick change those tires. They've done that for years. I think they've had.
Well,
that.
I just thought of it because I hear like guys on live, they're like, "Oh, his tires are probably wearing out or something." It's like, oh, that'd be nice to change them halfway through, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, be cool. Then we'll see how fast those guys are, because putting fuel in's pretty easy, but not for them.
Yeah. Could you imagine if you had a bad pit stop and a bad tire change?
Oh, bad. It'd make it fun to watch, though. I'll tell you that. Alex Sturgeon saying that we had that awful same pit lane until this winter, the opposite direction. So
yep.
He says here that you'll see the new one in a few weeks. Way better.
Good.
Let's wait. There you go.
Yeah, they had an all wood pit lane with, I believe, like if you're standing, like you're going to pit a car, they had all the boards went vertical on that pit lane, and they got their use out of that. That's for sure. They use that pit lane forever.
I was thinking maybe have some like pyro when you come up in the pit lane and some fire, but I guess that wouldn't go good with nitro. Guess we'll not do that. Like, so that'd be
another
great
thing for
nitro
P&B.
blast. Like, yeah, right.
Yeah.
I think there might be some safety
Yeah,
issues there, though.
You and Dave could put on races together. You could put all these gimmicks together and like, you know, Joker lane laps and trap doors and um, concussion explosions.
Yeah. Yeah, hit me up, Dave. We'll come up with some great ideas. Jason knows I'm always full of great ideas. I'm always helping people out, helping
Yeah,
sports
emailing.
organizations out. Free of charge, too.
Yeah, I mean, what would the NFL, NHL, NBA, where would they be at, the WWE, if it wasn't for your emails, your constructive criticism?
Exactly. And the Duncan app, Sheets app. I helped them all out.
Yeah, it's
And they've rewarded
definitely
me,
on a
but,
roll.
you know. Alex is saying on the pit lane thing that he has a speed limit, and if you speed, you get the trap door. There you go. I love it. Love it. The trap door. We got to make that a thing for the Psycho Blast and trap
Some
door.
pit lanes have a trap door accidentally because they're in such bad shape.
Oh man. Rick Hayes checking in from YouTube. Head on over to YouTube, like the YouTube page, subscribe and like. It really helps us out. Rick is saying there didn't seem to be much of a spectator interest at the Vision Race. Would an event like that be better suited for more of a scale RC race like U4RC, Dirt Oval, or Monster Truck?
I think what a couple of the things is when you're at that event, there's really not there's really not a lot of spectators at that event. They're all participants in something.
Wow.
So we're relying on other individuals not doing what they're there for to watch us. You know what I mean? Like you're not just driving up there and buying tickets to go and be a spectator for RC. Like essentially, they're not busy at that moment. They're walking by, going to get lunch, or they're going to, get their UTV ready, and they're like, oh, let's stop and watch this. There are spectators, and there were people stopping to watch. I want to say like maybe A1. I felt like there was like the most amount of people watching. I have to look at my video, um, but yeah, it's not something where you're actually like it's so much invited to be a spectator. It's more like you're walking by it constantly, and if you choose to stop, you can stop. But a lot of people are interested in what they're doing, right? It's like if you're there with a UTV or a rock, whatever they call them. What did I just call them? Rock.
Rockbusters.
It's not a rock hopper,
Rock
rock. I forget the name of it. I forget what the name of they were calling them. Anyway,
Oh man.
um, you might be just getting ready to go do that yourself. So it's like it's not a big deal.
The rock hoppers.
I think the best spectator, well, RC race that I've been involved with was when we did. It's not bad. Yeah, that wasn't bad. We were racing, and a lot of people walking through those buildings and stopping at the RC track because they were there as spectators. They were
Motorama?
kind of visiting. Yeah, they were visiting
Yeah.
the whole thing as a spectator. So
Yeah, there's a
I
lot of
think there
people
was
to pass through there.
there was something to that. When I did the Monster Jam World Finals, this kind of goes in as monster truck stuff, but we did the Monster Jam World Finals out in Orlando, and there was quite a few spectators watching that, but they're also there wandering around. They have nothing else to do but to spectate. So they were interested, and they stopped and they watched it for quite a while when we were doing the races and the freestyle. Yeah, I think that's several of the points. I guess is one, everybody had something they were doing because they were there doing their own event, and two, the timing has to be right. Something exciting has to be going on when they're walking by or interested. In general, I thought it went pretty well. If you wanted to get more spectators, I think what you would have had to do is advertise exactly when the race that you want people to watch is going to happen. Say it's 2 or 3 p.m. at the RC track, the A final is going down, and maybe you could make sure people were going to be there for that. And that's what we did at Motorama. What we did at Motorama with Scotty on the 8 scale track is we told the organizers that we were going to have a special race at we picked a time. It was like 2 or 3, and Scotty went through the list and picked like 10 drivers he wanted to compete in this special, and the spectators showed up, and we held this special like 10-minute race.
Yeah.
And all the drivers participated in this like it was a show, because it wasn't an actual real main event. We just made it up for the spectators. So I've talked about this before on the podcast, but it was the coolest way to do it, because I remember Mayfield and like Taylor Peterson, Adam Drake, Jesse Roberts, Billy Easton. I think a lot of those guys were in the race, and I remember Ryan letting people just pass him, and the spectators thought they were really passing him, but he was just like going wide and letting like Adam Drake pass him, and then he would just, since he was really wide, he would jump a really big distance that you wouldn't normally jump. Mm-hmm. And the spectators just were going crazy because they're just like, oh my God, this guy passed him here. And then Ryan jumps over him, and it looked great. Like it worked perfectly for the spectators, but it wasn't a real race. It was just like the guys were like, we're just going to make this look good. Yeah. And that actually, to me, that worked the best, was sort of a fun race to kind of show off, and it worked well.
Jason checking in says the complex did not really announce over a common loudspeaker the events that were happening. So
yeah, they had a speaker that they would use to make announcements, and it sounded like one of those old McDonald's speakers. Where it was like, we're gonna have
A1 coming up in 2 minutes. Come see Ryan Mayfield and all. Nothing like that. Would you like
yours is way clearer.
It is clear? Mine?
Way clearer than the one that they had, yeah.
Would you like to upgrade to our macho nacho cheese fries for $1 more?
Yes, sir.
Mayfield up next.
Please drive through.
Please drive through. Thank you.
Yeah, I think
I understand your frustrations.
I think what Jason's saying is a lot of truth to it. They never actually made an announcement and said, hey, come to the RC track for this special event. And because I think our schedule,
head on over to the RC track right away. Jason Mackinick, there we go. Jason Mackinick is racing up next. Come over here and catch us and watch this beautiful disaster. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that's what it sounded like, right? They like a little tiny speaker on the
You're having a real
pole,
blast
right?
with that.
Yeah, I love that. It's fun. Jason's speechless. Alex was saying the event is not for spectators; it's for TV. Jason, so
it was for TV. Well, that's what I was going to say. Is they ran the schedule. Brandon ran the schedule for the TV, not necessarily for people to watch. Right. But you kind of end up getting both. But
yeah,
it was fun. I would totally go back, like I said, and do it
Yeah.
again. And
I tuned in and they had these cars going through it looked like a crick. And it looked like a full scale version of the buggies. I don't know what you would call them. They weren't UTVs or not. I don't know what they call them. They look like the ad from 1985 RC10.
dude, they had everything out there.
Yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know what was going on when I'm watching it because there's commercials and all this other stuff going on, and I'm like, phew, man, it was sensory overload. Jason is saying that Rock Racers is probably what I was watching, Jason. Rock Racers.
Rock bouncers.
Rock bouncers.
Rock bouncers. That's
Yeah.
what they were telling me.
Get that right, Mac and Nick. It's rock bouncers. Rock hoppers. I like that one.
I'm going to turn my Wi-Fi back on.
Oh, no. Here we go. We're going to lose them. We were doing so good there. So Jason's broadcasting from home, people. So we got, we're getting technical issues. We're getting these little clicks that you're going to hear in the audio version. Just deal with it. It's fine, right?
Yeah, I think technically Rock Racers is the real name.
Rock hoppers.
But people were calling them Rock Bouncers. Did I say Rock Bouncers?
So that's what I was probably watching for a little bit. But I didn't know what was going on. It was jumping from here and there and there. And I'm like, yeah. I couldn't put much time into it. And
Jason's last name is actually so much easier than it looks. It's just actually mechanic. It's just mechanic. I think it's just mechanic.
Mechanic. Ah, come on. How could his last name be Mechanic?
I think it's just mechanic. It's so much easier than you think.
I mean, if you have a name like that, you're definitely racing. It is mechanic. He's saying. That's unreal.
Yes.
So you have to be involved in some form of racing with a name like that.
And they did really good in the race. Actually, they were there racing. They were one of the ones that they TQ'd the overall in the Open Nitro class. Won $1,000 for that and bumped up to the invite.
Wait, who?
So, Jason's son, Ethan Mechanic.
His son? Ethan Mechanic.
Yeah, was racing, and he TQ'd the Open buggy class, and you get $1,000 for that.
What? Wow, awesome.
And so, yeah, he was victorious.
Do you have to report that to the IRS?
You do, actually. They give you a form. They give you a form right then and there.
Oh, jeez. Man, is there a IRS agent right there too that hands it to you?
There is. There's 60,000 of them. Wasn't that the number?
Right. Yeah. They got they hired 60-some thousand or something like that.
I love when you see those memes where it's like the IRS looking at me getting a Venmo payment or something like that.
Or they're to collect that. 86,000 agents they hired. They're there to collect that $5 your grandmother gave you for your birthday.
Man.
Right. Wow. So they give you a form right there. So the government's getting half of that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Half of it's going to Ukraine. All right. Jason Mechanic. Okay.
Yeah, it's a
$10.99K they're giving you. $10.99K. Look at that. That makes your taxes all complicated.
Spencer said he filled it out on the spot. He's like, I'm done. He's like, I did it right there.
Yeah. Damn, that's crazy.
It's got to be legit, I guess.
Yeah. Head on over to the RC track right now and watch Jason Mechanic. Yes, that's his last name. Mechanic. Watch him. So he's a mechanic for his son then, right?
That's correct.
That's great. All right. Jason Santos saying, hey, guys.
There he is. I was wondering if he was going to check in.
Yeah, he checks in.
We can count on him.
I think I missed the race he had a couple weeks ago at Pit Stop. I missed that one. Can you believe that, Jason?
I definitely believe it. The thing is now, at this point, there's going to be a time you're going to be like, yeah, I'm going to be there. And he's just going to be like, yeah, right. And then you're just going to show up and he'll be like, I never even got anything ready because I didn't think you would come.
Well, I was gonna go the week I was going. He was going. I think he was going to some graduation or something. So that was the week I was going.
That's amazing how it didn't work out.
Nah, it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah. And Jason Santos is saying apparently my notification bell hasn't been on. So yes, I've also Jason contacted me last week and said, "Hey, I'm not getting notifications when you go live." So, and I've gotten that same message from other people too. So I don't know if it's in your settings or if it's just Facebook doesn't like us or YouTube doesn't like us. So
Ring that bell.
yeah, make sure you click on that notification bell. And I think you have to go on Facebook and make sure you put see first or put us as a favorite in order to get the updates. Not quite sure how all that works. Jason said he fixed it though.
Cool.
Well, apparently he didn't because he shows up like 2 hours into the show.
Well, he was wrenching on the RC10.
Right.
He's got a lot of builds to do.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Where we were at that race in Virginia, Jason was there and Brock was pitting in front of him. Brock's just kind of like, how many of these RC10s you got? You know, and
Right.
I don't know. Jason's like, I don't know, like 50. Brock, I thought Brock was like, what?
What?
I think he was thinking like, oh, five or, Brock's thinking, oh, he's going to say like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Jason's like, I probably got like 50 of these. He's like, what?
Well, how many are race ready? Probably like 2. The rest of it's all torn apart.
That's the tough part about RC cars.
Chili Duncan. What's up, Chili? I need you to send me some more car actions digitally. He's saying he got a notification from YouTube, but not Facebook. So yeah, I think Facebook's a little different. I think you just need to go into your Facebook page settings and put as a favorite or see first. I don't know why I keep saying. I think see first used to be a thing at one time, but now I think they just put favorites.
Okay.
Alex Sturgeon saying maybe I made fun of Biden at any time. Shadow ban for insulting the great leader of our country. So that
is there a shadow? There's a such thing as a shadow ban.
Shadow ban.
What is that?
Did I? No, I don't follow politics, so I don't know. Is Biden still the president? Okay. Yeah, Jason has enough for. There was a question up here I wanted to get to real quick, and I'm trying to find it while you talk amongst yourselves. But...
Okay. Hey, you know what? We haven't gotten into the Losi bike yet.
Yeah, so there was a question up here about that, and I need to find it. I think it was from John Bolton, our good friend John Bolton. Let me scroll through here.
John's been doing a little.
John Bolton's back into it now, by the way. So
good.
Yeah. What would it take? John's asking Jason, what would it take to put the J Concepts name? Let me click that on here for you. J Concepts name in yellow on the tires, like all the MX tires have. J Concepts will need to build tires for the new motorbike from Horizon.
I think you can have them. You can kind of get like a print put on it. You can kind of roll or mask and print a name on there. It probably would actually be easier to do it. Right now we kind of have embossed logos.
Embossed logos?
On the tires, we have the logos are actually extruded into the tire carcass so that when you're looking at it, it has a 3-dimension, it's got a thickness to it. And, like the tire I have here, the logos, they stick out from the sidewall, so they're extruded out from the sidewall. But I think you could set it up to where it'd be easier to not have any of that on there. And then you would just print right on the sidewall itself. But then they're going to wear off. You know what I mean? They'll probably look great when they're brand new.
Yeah.
But I would think after you hit stuff, maybe they'll kind of drag that, the yellow off, or they look a little weird. But I do agree, it might be kind of neat. It might be neat to have that.
You'd have to do it in the J Concepts blue. That would look
I
awesome.
think what he's saying is in the real bikes they're
Yeah,
actually
well,
yellow. But
I mean, it's not a real bike. No, it'd be cool to show it off though, and it says J Concepts in blue.
yeah,
Be awesome. I think it'd look cool. You don't have to do it yet.
yeah. I think
What a perfect
I
track
think
to
it,
race those at too at Hobby Haven.
I think uh, I think Nick Walnuts at Silver State was doing his lettering on his tires. I think he was doing white though. He was like, but he was penning it in, like with a pen. It looked good.
Right. Yeah, I guess you
I
could
mean,
do that.
I wouldn't run it on a RC car like that,
No, but
but
on this bike it'd be cool.
on the bike in the yellow, as John's saying, it might be really neat.
Um. Okay. So we might do it. Tyler Weaver checking in. Haven't heard from that dude in ages. I don't even think he races RC cars anymore. So what's he care?
He's gonna get a dirt bike, man.
He ain't getting no dirt bike. He got married and that's all he cares about now. Does JC being JC Concepts have any
Tyler
plans
knows better
for
than that.
Losi Promoto X MX accessories? So are you gonna do an accessories for this Losi bike?
Yeah, we are. I mean, I don't think there's any question you're gonna have to have it. It looks like it's the general feeling out there is that people, I think, want one. So we're gonna have to have stuff for it, and I'm excited about it. Um, but I'm excited about everything RC. But I mean, I like all RC stuff, but we're gonna have to have something. And it's different though because there's a lot more limitations with this. I think because sometimes with cars and trucks and all that is there's a little more. You have more freedom probably to make it look a little different. So with this, it's a little more like, tires, wheels, small accessories. Do you get into the aesthetics of it at all? You know,
Well, don't you have to wait and see how successful this is first
well,
before you get deep?
I think it's going to, I think at the very minimum, it's a moderate success. So I think making stuff for it is for sure. Um, you kind of have to do it. I think.
Hmm.
I think at the very minimum, it's a moderate success, and if it's an amazing success, then you had to already been in it. You know what I mean? Like there's no way to predict if it's a moderate success or an overwhelming success. So I think you have to do it, and you have to take, if there's any risk in that, you have to just roll with it. That's part of it. Um, you know, what I've heard is they've had 6 years in this project. So
Yeah,
if they're willing to spend 6 years and what I would consider millions and millions of dollars developing and getting this thing out, certainly they think
millions
there's
and millions.
millions and millions of dollars um, getting this thing out there. Um, Certainly they think there's something to it. So I'm willing to go along with that. Certainly
Uh,
prepared to accept it. Now, I watched all the videos. Paul sent me the link to the 50-minute video. I watched that one. I watched a little promo, vertical portrait video. I think that it does what they set out to do. It probably has more technology built into that bike than any project they've ever made. There's probably more thinking outside the box with that item than they've probably ever had to do with anything they've built in the past. I think they had their A team level of individuals working on it. Gil Losi Jr., Frank Root, Mike Mellon. Those are the guys I know personally. Todd Hodge is in the department, or runs the department, I think. Surface category or something. Obviously, he is part of the A team. They got marketing A team guys on this. They probably had everybody in Spectrum. That's the top of the line. Designers in Spectrum. They were probably in on this, the A team. So you have your entire A team working on this thing. Whereas if you're building a mini T, you probably don't have your A team working on the mini T. You know what I mean? But in something like this, you got your A team across the board on it. It's going to cost you.
Yeah, a whole new platform.
And it's going to cost you some money. And if you're working on it for what I heard was 6 years. They said 3.5 years on the video, but I thought it was more like 6 years. If you're going to work on something for 6 years, you're setting up to sell. You want to sell 100,000 of these, not 1,000 of these, right? Selling 1,000 is not a success in something like this. Selling 100,000 or 200,000, that's what you're shooting for. Do I think that they can sell that many? I don't know. But that's the goal. I mean, I hope they do, because it's good for all of us. That means there's that many more people. I mean, that's what happened with Short Course.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, Traxxas has sold, they're still selling them, hundreds of thousands of those slashes.
Wow.
And that's, I would say, a great majority of the people we have in RC right now started with a slash. I started with Tamiya cars. That was my generation. But then there was a generation after that, and then another generation, and then probably the generation of starting with the slash. And that's the guys that are a lot of the people that are racing right now probably started with something like that. So this could be another entrance, another gateway vehicle, or it's its own class altogether. Maybe people get into this and they do only this. I don't know. I don't know how well it performs side by side with other bikes. Can you put 4, 10, 12 of them together? What happens when they hit, and how do you turn marshal it? And,
good points.
So, I don't know how all that really works yet. But, they're showing it on a track, but it's a track built
for that.
That looks like a dirt bike track.
Yeah.
What I don't understand is if I guess it has those side leaning, I can't remember the actual name they call it.
Like training wheels.
Yeah, they're like balance bar.
Yeah.
It's just so it can't tip past kind of the breakover point. When you get something where you lean too far, where basically the center of gravity goes over too far. But they got those bars on there for that. And
you think that would turn people off to that?
What do you mean, the look of it?
The look of it, because people complain about stadium trucks not looking like trucks. Now you got a bike with these two things sticking out of it. And
I'm sure they didn't. I'm sure they didn't want to put them on there.
Yeah.
But I think there was a couple things that they probably just couldn't get around. When that thing leans too far, you can't bring it back is probably part of it. And of course, like I said, I haven't driven it, but there is somebody said that once you get better with it, you can take those off if you want.
Oh, okay.
But I can't
imagine a lot of people doing that.
I tend to think that you kind of need them on there, because especially if you're crashing or making mistakes, it seems like that's kind of how you can kind of get it back going.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just don't know what happens when you crash, and Like if you have a turn marshal, how they get you back going? Can they just lead it on the side and then it takes off, or
Or do you got to
like
be like on the throttle a little and then like put
yeah,
you down and
right, yeah.
right?
I
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the part I don't know how it really works because that's obviously a huge part of it, right? Like because you're gonna have crashes, you're gonna beat and bang and be upside down and on the driver's helmet, and everything
Jesus.
else. So
Yeah.
yeah, how do you get it back going? Um, so and you kind of it's best to have a track that probably suits it. It's pretty big too when you look at it. It's that thing's not small.
Yeah.
So um, like in the video, it kind of looks small, but when you see people handling it,
Yeah, you're
and
like, yeah, right.
it's pretty good size, and then it's heavy too. Like it's heavier than an 8 scale buggy, so it's a pretty hefty piece. Uh, yeah, I don't know much more about. I don't know what the target is. Do you want to race them? Did they make it to race it, or is it really just are you just showing it on a track with others, or like, that's my question is there a transponder mount? Is it ready to put my transponder in there?
Yeah.
Uh, but I know for sure they've worked so hard on this thing. Uh, I'm sure everybody's ready for a vacation if this thing is out and ready to be shipped because I'm sure they've had to work really hard to get this thing out. And what really kind of I liked about when I watched the video was there was a couple details. Um, well, there's a lot more than just a couple details, but I don't know. Have you watched the long video?
No, not the long one.
If you watch that, you're a video like research kind of like information. That
Yeah.
thing you're gonna like buy. You're gonna be into it after you watch that video.
I'm gonna pre-order one.
Yeah, because there's a all the inner workings of how it works, the front shocks, the forks, the front brakes, the rear chain, the sprocket thing, like
Dang.
the rear shocks, the rider, the actual dude that's on it, the what that's made out of. It has clothes, like it's pretty freaking cool.
Hmm. I'll have to check that
Um,
out.
and they're saying the price about $600, which I actually was expecting it to be more than that. I think that's a pretty fair price considering I want to say that's the price that comes with a battery also. And that's pretty good. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with that thing for $600.
Hmm. Peter Bartel's asking, do you think it will bring outdoor 10 scale racing back?
I thought about that. If you kind of have to have a vehicle to go alongside it would probably help. Like if there was some type of off-road 10 scale car that you could run alongside of that, maybe.
Hmm.
That's what you need though, is you need something that works well in those conditions that can kind of be paired with it. So you build a track that's specific for this bike, but then you could run any RC car on it, then, four-wheel RC car.
Yeah.
But it needs to kind of work pretty well also. The 10 scale stuff we have currently, well, two-wheel drive anyway, they're not really made for that. They're really made for prepared tracks.
Hmm. I think this will, John Bolton, I think this would work great on the Hobby Haven track.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is
I want to
you're
watch.
going to you're going to see people making specific tracks just for these things
Hmm.
because
Well,
I don't think you can just go out and have a really good time at a big 8 scale track or a small 10 scale track with this. I think what you really want is you want to build a track for them so that kind of suits the strength of that vehicle. So
yeah.
however it's designed, and whatever the limitations are, you kind of need to build the track around that. And then I think that is probably what we're going to see. And I would imagine some of the first people that are going to do it is going to be like Joey the Dirt out there. Joey Christensen with the Dirt. I think he might be one of the first ones. I would say that he'll probably build a specific track for it. And you're going to see a bunch of them right away, that's for sure.
Dustin's saying the quarter scale ATV. ATV has to come next. So let's one
I
second.
thought about that.
Really? Yeah, ATV.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that. You could have like basically what he's just saying is a four-wheeler.
Yeah.
So you have the dirt bike and then you have the four-wheeler. Those are your classes.
TLR's
One thing I was talking to Spencer about,
Oh.
the only thing I can think of that the only negative to this is when I see RC cars, four-wheeled RC cars, I think that they are better than the real thing, right? RC cars actually work better than real cars. They're faster, they jump better, they land better, they do incredible distances. I think that RC cars are actually sort of like a fantasy version of a real car, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't jump, the distances that we do with RC cars with a real car. You can't turn into corners and land and do all these things because all the drivers would be dead, right? Because they're
right.
The RC cars work so good. And to me, with this motorcycle concept, it's not, I think it's hard to make it as good as the real thing, right? I would think that the real dirt bike with a human being controlling it is still better than you can make the RC version, because of the human being is such a big factor in the performance.
Right.
Whereas in the four-wheeled RC cars, they're better than what they're representing. And in this situation, you actually probably have to make some compromises because of just the physics of the whole thing. So that's the only thing I could think of that we have the advantage of. What the other RC cars is, they're better than real life. They're kind of a fantasy, and then the other thing, maybe it's not quite as good as the real thing with a human being on it. And so you have to, there's some compromise there, or some fantasizing you have to do in your mind, right? Like,
I could do that.
So, but that was one thing I had thought of. But then the other thing I thought of before we get to that was, one thing about it is this opens the door. If they have developed a lot of this technology, one thing I thought of right away was you can do the MotoGP version of the bikes, which is the road bike racing, right? Which is, you don't have to really worry about as much of the jumps and stuff. Now it's just high speed.
Yeah, but they have them, right?
They do have them, and I think, but with this, the technology that they're getting, perfecting, I guess you could say, they might be able to wrap that up into a different kind of bike. So now you have the dirt version, and you have the street bike, or the asphalt version, or the MotoGP, or whatever you want to call it. It might actually work better in that situation, because you don't have to worry about so much about the jumps and the dirt and the, you know what I mean? Like all these things that they had to do, like they might actually be able to make that one even better.
Yeah, but all these guys are motocross fans. So.
Correct. That's why they made it.
Right.
But in Europe and other places, and even here, I mean, bikes are big in general, right? You know what? The other thing you can make? A Harley.
No, don't.
You could make a Harley. I
Oh,
mean, who wouldn't buy that?
uh,
You
I know
put one of
somebody that
those
would
sound.
buy that. That's
You
for
put one
sure.
of those. You put one of those sound boxes in there that sounds like a Harley.
Yeah,
Um,
that's one way to get our friend Brian Roeder back into RC.
he'd be there.
Um, Chili Duncan saying one of Horizon's in-house brands already offer pre-mounted supermoto front and rear tires to convert this over to street racing.
Yeah,
Huh? All right, well, there you go. You convert
but
it
it's
over.
but it's not the same look of the bike. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like you got to have that other look, um,
yeah.
and because honestly, in my opinion, I I like dirt racing. I'm a dirt racer, but when I just look at all these things, to me, those bikes they use in like MotoGP are the most badass looking ones,
Hmm.
and they
I
have
like a
paint
motor.
jobs.
Yeah, I like
They
a
have paint
motocross
schemes.
bike though. I think they just look cool.
Yeah, they all do.
Uh, Horizon's like, please don't stop talking about moto. Just promote our new bike here. Uh, New version of Evil Knievel stunt bike. There you go.
Yeah, you get that evil licensing.
Yeah.
Don't have to have that zip pull thing anymore. You just take off and
Tyler Weaver saying he personally would love to race them. Looks incredible for what it's worth. Not happening though, Tyler. Tyler is whipped. She took him
um,
right out of RC.
how about
Finally finds a girlfriend and he goes way deep. All right, what do you have there?
no, I was just looking at my hat.
Tyler, see, Tyler agrees with me. I got him.
Oh
I don't know
god.
how she does it. All right, I got something else here. Um, Jason was mentioning that the electric rally cars at Visions really backs up what you were saying about RC looks better.
Well, honestly, when I was standing on the driver's stand at the RC track, I did a video from one side where they had the real cars were running on the track, and then I kind of panned the video over to the RC cars, and I liked the RC cars better. um, to me, they looked faster, they looked more capable, they were just doing things to me that are really extraordinary. And I looked over at the real cars on the track, and they look slow. They have no traction. They just look super heavy. And like if they do the wrong thing, they're just going to do a donut. And they have a hard time with the jumps. And I look at the RC cars, and
Right.
they look absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And um, but there's one thing of being in. But then actually, what's funny, um, the funny part is when you put it on video, like when you like look up and you're watching it on video, you
Hmm.
would see the real cars on the video, and you're like, this looks way better on video. And the RC cars don't look as good on video as they do in person. So I was like, oh, this is where we're screwed because the real cars look so good on television.
Ah.
They film well, they look good, they look, um, and you can read everything, you can see everything. And then the RC cars on video don't look near as good. But in
Mm.
person,
Look like toys.
when I'm going back and forth in person, I think the RC cars look much better and more
Wow.
capable.
That's pretty
But
weird.
yeah, it was actually kind of fun to do that. And the other thing I noticed with the real cars and the rally cars, and they had everything out there, but they had to redo the track all the time.
Hmm.
I was talking to Paul while the race was going on. I'm like, this is, we're like partway through the day, and I'm like, this is the third time they're redoing the big track. All we've done on the RC track is they water it just to keep the dust down.
Right.
Like we just keep racing. We change tires and we adjust for the conditions. And the real cars were really more track sensitive. Like you could tell they had to have the track a certain way or try to maintain it a certain way for everything to work a little bit better. They hated the blue groove. When a second that the real track started the blue groove, they were out there with the graders and the water trucks, and like they were tearing that thing back up.
Right, where you guys love it.
And on the RC track, we're just like, blue groove, yes, let's just switch up one harder tire, let's rock and roll. We're gonna set track record.
Wow.
And and like they're like, oh, hold up, let's redo the track here.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, it's funny because that's like when you watch them both together. But that key, man, watching it on television, I look up and I'm looking at the monitor and Brandon's trailer or wherever it was when they had the real cars on. I was like, yeah, this looks pretty good on TV.
Yeah.
Then you look at the RC version, you're like, well, I get it. Maybe we need to decorate it like a drift car track where it looks like a real scene, like a real street scene or something. Decorate the outside and the inside so it looks like when it's on video, it looks like
yeah. It's funny you said that because Jason mentioned that the full-size cars was like watching drift cars inside a mall.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah. That's interesting.
They just do not have the overall grip and of the RC cars. It's amazing. Like when they're accelerating, it's just they have just zero traction compared to the RC cars. Like when they're tracked, where they have to go uphill in sections, when they have to like run against, when they go uphill. I mean, they are really like on the gas, tons of wheel spin, getting those things up the hills, and the RC cars just thrive in all those situations. And that's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah,
our RC cars just so outperform the counterparts, the real counterparts, that's what makes them kind of impressive to me. So,
wow. We'll wrap it up here soon. Jason Santos says, I don't know where Tyler Weaver lives, but I could probably get him to pit stop before Gotti.
That's true.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Tyler Weaver, he'd be sucked right back into. Jason gets him dialed in, and it'd be over. He'd be back out there.
Weaver's getting a divorce. And it's over. Oh, how great that would be.
I'm back, baby.
He's like, I'm back.
I'm back, baby.
The wife took the kid and she's gone, but I'm back.
I got a dirt bike and an 8 scale.
Love to see it. Yeah, never say that, Tyler. Tyler say no divorce, but I'd be there in a minute. Be careful. Nah, I'm just busting them. Man, we really saved the show. The rough start in the beginning. Jason.
It was.
Jason going in and out, and but it is what it is. You're doing this from home, so.
I think we had the weather thing. I went back to Wi-Fi, and I feel like things kind of have.
Yeah. Yeah.
We had a bad storm today.
And Tyler, we were saying he'll be at the. Oh, here we go. This is the beginning. He will be at the 10 scale off-road electric Nats to watch in a couple months.
Cool.
So you know what happens when you do that, Jason?
You get hooked.
You get hooked. You get hooked.
You got your phone with you. You're just online shopping right away. Click, click, click.
Yeah.
Let me get 2 of those new Losi Pro bikes. Let me get a couple 8 scales, a B6, a B74. Shopping carts just like at 7,500. Check out.
What are you gonna do, right? It is what it is. It's in your blood. It's never getting out. So.
You know what? You buy that stuff. You know what? They say you only live once, so
Yeah.
buy it all. Buy it all, man.
Yeah, you never
If
know.
you
You might
want,
be
if you
gone
want
next week.
10 low-C dirt bikes, you get 10 low-C dirt bikes.
Damn.
Put it on a credit card.
Should I be getting one of these bikes?
Dude, watch that 50-minute video on low-C on YouTube. Go to the low-C is their
Okay.
name. It's like a
It's under
50-minute.
Low-C?
Correct. Not
It's not
TLR.
TLR project.
Yeah. You know what I think would have made this bike better
Uh-oh.
is if it was Team low-C.
Yeah.
Like it had the old Team low-C logo, like from the 90s, and like I just feel like since like Gil was working on it with some of his
Oh, yeah.
low-C and Team low-C guys, like if it actually was Team low-C,
Yeah.
like you brought that into it, like I think that would have been really, really cool. Like every time I see that low-C logo, the one that's like kind of for the RTR cars, I'm always kind of like, ugh.
Yeah, that's a bummer, man.
I like the Team low-C logo. TLR, I
wish
like
they
that
would-
one too. I like the
I don't
TLR
like the
thing
TLR.
too. But it's like, to me, if it was like, you could have like just crashed the internet with like not only having that, but then it was like Team low-C. It would have been like, oh man, here we go.
Yeah, that would have crashed the internet then. Dang. That's a damn good point.
I should email that in.
Yeah, go ahead. I'll let you have that one.
Can I?
Yeah.
You'll
can
be
have
on
that.
there.
I'll be
You'll
on there
be
right
on.
now as soon as the show's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah, you'll be sending it over.
Yeah.
You know what I thought was a good idea? Yep, team. Because you know what made me think about is when I saw the rear fender and they had just the regular low-C logo on there, and I was like,
Yeah.
man, what if it just had the old Team low-C logo? That would have been so much cooler.
That would have been epic. I just wish they would have used that regard, but I guess they had their reasons. Going TLR.
Yeah, they separated the two
Yeah.
names and brands.
I'm not a fan of the TLR, so not a fan of it. But maybe that's just because, huh?
Maybe, yeah, like you said.
You know, back in the old days, I just like that. I like that logo and everything. Yeah, what are you gonna do?
Can't bring it back.
No.
I guess you could.
Well, you could, but
They could have.
all they had to do is ask you, what should we do here?
You got any ideas for this project?
Yeah.
Well,
In all reality, these companies should check with us, especially me.
they should. They don't know what they're missing out on with your emailed suggestions.
Hey, it's legit, man. I'm still trying to turn around my Lakers organization, though.
That's going to take a couple more emails for sure.
Tyler Weaver's saying if they would have had the Team Low-C name on it, I would have pre-ordered one today. You're right, though. The Low-C only badge got me all sideways, too.
See?
Yep. There you go.
Like the first thing in the video, the first thing before the video even starts, the old 90s Team Low-C logo comes on.
Man.
It's just like, boom, order now.
Yeah.
You're like, buy it now. Like you could just said buy it now, like process $600.
Before you even knew what it was.
Yeah. It just goes old Team Low-C logo. You're just like, buy now, $600.
Yeah.
Congratulations, you get a decal. You bought a Team Low-C.
And just think if they could have done the shirts, and that'd have been awesome. So.
Yeah, like to me, like yeah, you see that regular Low-C logo, and you just kind of go,
Yeah. Bummer. RTR. Well, I guess it's under that brand though, right? Isn't that what they use the logo for? The RTRs? Just a straight up Low-C. So that's this is a ready run bike. So
yeah, if you actually go to that site, lowc.com, it's really nice. It's a nice website. They got all the categories of vehicles in there.
Yeah.
They had to create one for moto. There's a moto category. And then, the different vehicles, monster trucks and desert and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, tons
the
of
other ones are. Yeah, there's a ton of them. And it's actually a nice site. I went on there, kind of bumped around and looked at a few things and
Yeah.
like the specifications. And they probably got a little bump in traffic the last couple days, but yeah, nothing like if it just said Team Losi.
Oh man, that would have been perfect. All right, well there you go, 244 in the books, and that was fun. Like I said, we redeemed ourselves there. Rough start.
It was. Go buy one of those Losi dirt bikes. Let's get them going. Let's get them out there.
Yeah, definitely.
I got two. I ordered two.
You ordered two. Wow.
I ordered two.
One for the shop, one for yourself.
One to shine, one to grind, as Fred would say. Every day I come in, Tyler Hooks is asking me, "Can we jump a car off the roof today?" I'm like, "What? No, no. We're not jumping any cars off the roof today."
Wow.
But
now he's gonna be like, "Can I jump a bike off the roof?"
Yeah, let's jump the bike off the roof.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got two.
Yeah. All right. Well, I wish him the best of luck with that. See how it goes. And
so yeah, the follow ups, the MotoGP street racing bike, the Harley.
The Harley. Jeez.
He
just thinking of possibilities with the Harley. You can add the little baskets in the back. You get all these accessories.
The accessories. That'd actually be the best for us. We can just accessorize that thing forever. You get the sound box in there making the Harley noise. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Drag bike. Look at, he's got drag bike already. We got.
Oh my gosh.
The other thing
Horizon's like, no, just worry about ours. Just pre-order that.
You could do the other thing I thought of.
Classes.
Today I was behind a guy with two jet skis on a trailer, and I was like, man, I bet you they could make a jet ski with this technology, and you have a rider on it, and you could, you know how the guys now do the stunts where you jump into the water and you come out.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what people want to do.
Right.
Make one of those next. That'll be after the Harley.
Oh man. All right.
Well, then you could combine two things. You could combine the Harley with Paul's idea of the Evil Knievel bike.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, the possibilities here are endless, man.
Whew, man. Well, like I said, Horizon doesn't want to hear all that right now. They just want you to concentrate on the motorbike and pre-order that and see what the hell happens from there.
Do I email these suggestions in, or are you emailing them in? Or
I've suggested stuff to Horizon in the past, and they have not responded to me. So I think you would get a better response. But
the response has been rather chilly for you, huh?
Yes, exactly. I guess they feel that I'm not in it no more. I don't shouldn't have any say in anything. But if they ever need any help and they would like business to spike upwards a little, just let me know.
I mean, your last good idea was the yo-yo, right? That was
no. Don't put that on me.
I thought you submitted that.
The Team Losi yo-yo.
Yeah, I thought that was one of yours.
No, that was not. No, that was not one of mine. Don't put that on me.
The bomb.
The bomb. The Losi. The bomb.
The bomb, and then there was the creeper or something.
Yeah.
There was another. There was two or three of them.
Yep.
The creeper.
Unbelievable. I can't believe we got a bunch of those in at Trinity at one time. We had to sell them.
Did they sell?
No. No, they did not.
I heard they sold like $1 million worth of those things.
Well, I mean, maybe on the East Coast here we didn't sell. Maybe on the West Coast they did. So.
I think they got them into Toys R Us. I heard they got them in. Yeah, I heard they got them into Toys R Us at the time.
Well, then maybe they did sell a bunch of them.
The Grim Sleeper.
But you weren't selling them to hobby shops at that time.
The Sleeper. What is this? The Sleeper. The Reaper. Was there like a cherry bomb or the bomb?
Yeah, I don't remember. But wasn't it somebody working at Losi that was into that, and that's how they got into it? He was like a yo-yo champion or something.
Yeah, I know they had a pro guy that came to the Chicago show and did
yeah, that's right. remember
they
that.
had the pro there, but I don't remember how that actually started.
Yeah. Huh. Oh, Chicago. Gotta love Chicago.
You still gotta come through Chicago.
Yep.
That's what
The
Jordan
video
would say.
game, when they debuted the video game at Chicago, I was never so disappointed in my life.
And that coming from you would like your credibility in that end of things is just like it's like, you know, I don't know what to compare it
I
to.
remember Jack Johnson asked me what I thought of it, and I was just kind of.
You threw up on him.
I was just like, what's going on here? What am I don't want to be rude, but what happened to what I heard like 2 years ago? This was going to be like an RC.
It was going to be the bomb.
Yeah, it was going to be the bomb. And I'm playing it, and there's like a snowman throwing snowballs. I'm like, Jack Johnson's like, what do you think of it? And I'm like, I'm just going to go back over to the Trinity booth and catch you guys later.
You're like, brutal comes to mind.
I was just like, you got to be kidding me.
Never going to recover from this.
I was so jacked up to go see that because that's where they first showed it.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have internet. Well, you did have internet back then, but not like today.
Right.
All right. Wow.
What was it called? Was it just called Team Losi RC Racing or something?
Yes, correct. Yeah. I have a copy here.
I'd never even seen it. I've only seen the cover.
Just go on YouTube and watch some videos. And you're going to love it.
I think I just knew better.
I know what I wanted at that time, and it was like a simulation of what we're,
Mm-hmm.
Man. All right, we got to get going. We're 2 hours and 36 minutes in, and people are going to argue. They're going to complain that the show's too long.
You're going to look for a part 2.
You want me to break it up into 2, 1 hour here, 1 there. So.
Yeah, you're going to have to title this what we talked about. You got to have the Losi
So
Pro Moto.
Visions. Should I put Visions first? Well, actually, we didn't get into Visions.
No, we did. We did.
Well,
good.
I mean, we started with Visions, and then we went, right into the chat room with all this other stuff. But I could put Visions.
Losi Pro Moto.
Quick change tire, Losi Pro Moto. And now I have to just title it with those two.
And then Team Losi video game.
Oh, yeah, I ought to revive that. I'm going to have to find my copy. I know it's here somewhere, so I'd like to put a photo of that up. But yeah, just go on YouTube, check it out. All right, Jason, that was 2:44. We're going to now you're leaving this weekend. Was it this weekend? No, next weekend.
I don't have anything for like a week or so.
Oh, okay.
Around, so we'll be able to knock out another episode. Part 2, if you will.
Part 2, right. All right, well, I appreciate everybody joining us in the chat. It was a good night in here. It was fun. Mm-hmm. A lot of interaction, and I appreciate everybody joining in and downloading the audio version. I see that. Everybody's doing that. And don't forget to head on over to YouTube, too. Radio Impound. Try and grow that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us a like. Spread the word. Tell a friend. And we'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye.
Yes, you put it succinctly.
Now you messed up my whole audio, Jason.
Oh.
Everybody's saying bye, Jason. Say bye to him. There you go.
Later, y'all.
Tyler Weaver, real surprise tonight.